Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced, head of DevRel here at Dremio. And in this video, what I want to do is just give you guys a tour of the Dremio SQL editor. So on the Dremio UI, which again, if you want to try it out, you can head over at any time to dremio.com/get started to start a free 30-day trial. Again, doesn't require a credit card, doesn't require any kind of infrastructure. It's just you sign up and you can get hands-on right away. But when you're looking at the Dremio UI, essentially what you're going to see here is you're going to see here different sections. So there's like the home section that'll take you to where the AI agent is, the dataset explorer, so you can take a look at your different data sets, and here the SQL runner, where we can run SQL and write SQL queries. Now keep in mind, the UI isn't the only way to write SQL queries. Dremio is an open platform, so you're able to, one, write queries directly to the Dremio engine using JDBC, ODBC, using Apache Aeroflight, using our REST API. So you have lots of interfaces to programmatically access the Dremio platform. But on top of that, any data sets that are inside the Dremio catalog, since the Dremio catalog is a catalog that supports the Iceberg REST protocol because it's based on Apache Polaris, you'll be able to connect it to other engines directly to work on any Iceberg tables you have in there using the Iceberg REST catalog protocol. So you have lots of ways to connect to your data outside of the Dremio UI. But the Dremio UI is pretty nice. Okay, so to give you an example, okay, some of the nice features. So right here, I can see all my different data sets that I have set up in my Dremio environment. Okay, again, here I can have multiple tabs. If I want to work on multiple scripts at the same time, I can do so. And then if I click like right over here, I have things where I can like save this particular tab as a script so that way I can work on it more later. Okay, I can save it as a view. If I want to save it as a SQL view in my semantic layer, then it has to be like a single query. Or I can close this. And if I want to close all the tabs, I can click close others. Okay, I know I was super happy when I discovered that feature. But yeah, okay, so there you're just kind of getting a lay of the, but let's actually run a query. So let's say I want to run this query on this Star Wars Battles query. Instead of me having to type out the whole name, I can just be like select star from, and then I can just literally just drag and drop, and then the name is there. And now I can just go click run to run the query. Okay, and then this, what it'll do is that it's going to go run the query. Okay, now again, there's a couple other buttons here, like preview. Preview will just do like a select a few records, so that way the query is quicker for like really large data sets. If you just want to make sure that the query runs. So here I can see the results of the query. Now keep in mind that the Dremio's engine is constantly trying to improve performance. Okay, so other aside from Dremio's raw Apache Arrow-based performance, you have several different caching layers that are going to help sort of accelerate performance, such as our results cache, our query planning cache, our columnar cloud cache, and reflections. So in this case, what's going to happen is you're going to see the results cache in play here if I run this query again. So if I run this again, okay, it should pretty much be instant, as you saw right there. It was pretty much instant, basically because it knows, because it's an Iceberg data set. Okay, right now in my particular environment, it's all Iceberg tables. It's able to identify that, hey, this data set hasn't changed, so we can use the cache results. So for heavily hit queries, you're not constantly having to reach out to S3 for every single Parquet file. You're not having to do a lot of computation, which is going to save you money and save you time. Okay, and then if it does notice that there's a new snapshot, it can then invalidate the cache and then run the query again. Okay, so for data sets that don't change too often, this will save you a lot of money on like dashboards and other types of analytics you're doing on it. Now notice I can also choose, Dremio has the ability to have elastic engines. So you can have different engines of different sizes. You can determine which engines you have. Like me, I only have one preview engine. This is the default engine you get in the trial. If you're no longer in the trial, once you put your credit card, then you're able to create additional engines of larger scale, create rules on when they turn on and off, all that kind of good stuff. And I can actually select what engine, but I can also create rules on which queries go to what engine, depending on like the user, the type of query, where the query is coming from. Also, really cool rules. So you do have that kind of workload management. Okay, now I can hide this pane here. So there this hides like the where I enter the SQL if I just want to look at the results and give myself more room for the results. Again, here's another button where I can save whatever I'm working on as a view. Now, if I'm looking at a particular data set, I can open this details panel here, so that way I can take a look at the data set of the particular data set that I'm looking at right now. This little button right here will bring in the AI agent. So if I want to have the AI agent kind of write a query for me or help me out with something, I can just open up that AI agent and do that. Okay. Now here we have the context switcher. So notice right now I have to type the full namespace. So Star Wars .battles. If I were to set the context to Star Wars, okay, so I'm going to say, hey, the context for this particular tab is going to be the Star Wars folder. Now I don't need to type this in anymore. Okay, so basically, if all the datasets I am are in the same folder, I'm working with them in the same folder. This saves me a lot of time. Now I don't have to type in the whole namespace, and this will work. Okay, and there we go. We get the results. So we have this context switcher. Here I can, if I need to look up any SQL functions, I can look them up here. And again, also you can just use the AI agent to help you write the SQL to begin with. We have autocomplete enabled, but you can disable it if you don't want autocomplete. And you have several different keyboard shortcuts. If you use tools like VS Code, you'll recognize a lot of these shortcuts. Cool. Okay, so let me go close the function thing. Now, when you're looking at data results, now let's say I want to do something like change the data type of a column. So I'm going to do this with a different data set. Let's see here. I'm going to head over to home for a second, actually, to my data set explorer. And when you have your data sets here, there's an option within your data sources that you can add. There's a sample source, which has sample data sets that you can play with. So also the different fun sample data sets you can try out. Okay. Yay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with the taxi trip CSV file here. So I'm going to promote that, say, hey, you know what, treat this as a table going forward. Just make sure all the right rules, make sure that this looks like it's extracting it correctly, save it. Okay, and now it's going to take me to the SQL editor where I can take a look at this data set. Okay, so I'm going to go run the query on the CSV file. And there we go. Now notice that since it's a CSV file, all the different column types are text. Okay, that's just the deal with CSVs. CSVs are schemaless. So what I can do is I can go update this, create a view that actually has all the right data types. So I could do it with SQL. Okay, you can do that, completely define that with SQL if you're comfortable with SQL, or you can use the AI agent to kind of figure out what the right SQL is for you. But also, what's been around in Dremio forever, before the era of AI, are nice little wizards to help you kind of do a lot of these tasks, whether it's like sorting by a particular column, whether it's renaming a column, dropping a column, converting the data type of a column, doing a group, doing sort of joins and aggregations, and doing like a calculated field, like if I want to convert from miles to kilometers. So you have all these tools for your basically less technical users to be able to kind of get easily access the data. They can use the AI. That's probably going to be the easiest, but not everything necessarily needs you to use AI, LLM tokens. So here you have some easy ways to also do a lot of these tasks for your business line users. Okay, and then you have also some buttons here that take you to do that. So again, if I want to change this into sort of like a number column, I just go to convert data type. Okay, it's going to ask me what data type I want to convert it to. In this case, I want to convert it to just a number. Actually, I don't think a number will work since it's a decimal point. Float. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to hit apply. And what this does is just going to write the SQL for me. So you see there, it created the SQL to convert that data field. So now when I run this SQL again, okay, we're going to see the data with see now it's a float. And then I can save this as a view. Okay, so I can go like, hey, I want to save this as a view, save as view. And we'll call this like, I'll just save it over here as updated weather. Okay, and then now that view's there and I can query it instead of having to reconvert those data types every time I want to query this data set. Okay, so I can go over here and I take a look over there, Alex Merced, demo, and then there's the updated weather view. So now that SQL doesn't have to, I don't have to redefine that every single time. Okay, and again, remember, there's that details panel here on the side where I can find details like what are the different columns in that particular table, the wiki entry in case I want to write like documentation, some information about that data set, and other metadata about that data set. Okay, so with that, also there's like a lineage data set, which you can go here for. We'll preview that in a separate video. But with that, yeah, I'll wrap this video up. See y'all later. Have a good one. Ciao.